guys? Today we're going to be talking about this. So I started this project a while back. I actually did it about 2 weeks after the main blaster came out. This is the Laserstryfe Deltaburst. It is a new laser tag equivalent from Nerf. Obviously I don't play laser tag, I play with the darts. So I converted it to shoot darts. Probably as you can see. So inside this blaster is a Nerf Strfye, and this is a very tight fit. I'm going to show you guys some pictures of the build process throughout the video so you know how hard this was to get this in here and look good, body speaking. So it's a tough fit, but if you can have the patience and make it work, you can get something that looks like this. It just takes a long time. So the main inspiration for this build was I saw the blaster, the Deltaburst, and I said, that looks really cool. I'm going to shove something into it to make it shoot darts, and that's exactly what I did. So all the firing mechanics are still the same. It's semi-auto with some cool lights. I'll show you that later. Rev trigger down here, and a mag release on this side, similar to the Strfye, which is back there. That is the one that shot cars, now has a Strfye. Pretty much the same thing here. This one, instead of using a push, this one uses a pivot on the inside, so it still works and everything. Just a different system to squeeze it into this more narrow shell. And when I say narrow shell, this is a very narrow shell. I would not attempt this integration if you are a inexperienced integrator. I'm not trying to be rude to anybody, but this is probably the hardest integration I've ever done to make it look similar to stock, except for the paint, and keep it functioning well. So it took a lot of tinkering and a lot of time to get it right, but I'm very happy with the results. So inside here, there is a Drac Nix cage, number 43, with the standard Howler wheels and out of darts Kraken motors. This is the first 3S build I've done in about a year now. And I saw the Krakens and I thought they'd go good in this cage, so I wanted to try it out. So that's what's running on the internals. Also, there's an ammo counter in the back, and I'm going to pull this closer so you can see it. It is a custom-made housing for it, made out of ABS sheet. And the switch is very cleanly placed back here that came with the ammo counter. Flick it on, and I got the red ammo counter, obviously. And I don't have fingernails, really, so I'm just going to use a pencil. And then I can still switch between each mode and go backwards and everything. It's a stock ammo counter, so it works really well. The ammo counters are really nice, and they're worth the money, in my opinion, if you need something to fill this space. Back here, there was an original ammo counter that had countdowns and everything, and did the electronic recoil with everything, but I couldn't use that ammo counter without making an Arduino program for it, and I don't know how to do any of that stuff, so I just conveniently bought the one that was available, and it fits in here very, very well and fills up that space nicely. So other features on this, parts that I've put into it, there are Greenhouse gear motor covers on the side. I love these things. I'm going to be using them in a lot of my builds in the future. They're on Interfactorum, and if I could have put them on the Strfye, I would have, but these are very nice because you can pop these in and out. I can actually, on this one, pop them out easily. These are friction fit motor covers, and this is nice because Interfactorum I can't clean the acrylic, but on this one I can. So these literally just sit in here, and I do putty around them to get rid of the 3D printed lines, some epoxy sculpt specifically, and these just simply pop in, and they're not coming out unless you push them in from the inside. Like, they're not coming out. So very nice by him. They're a little pricey, but I think they're well worth it if you're going to be doing a nice integration or a really nice build and have a really nice cage on the inside that you want to show off. So I showed you the main features. It's pretty much a Strfye shoved in here. The only things I still have to finish on this are there are still putty lines on the rev switch because I actually used the Strfye mag release for the rev switch this time, and this is the rev trigger backwards, but they fit the space as well. This was longer, so it fit this weird grip in the Laserstryfe shell, or in the Deltaburst shell, and this just had a smaller area that I could get the pivot working better without cutting into the side here. So reverse engineered parts, so I even need to paint them. I tried a paint pen, doesn't really work well. I might spray paint them. If that doesn't work, I'll send them off to a friend that can resin cast them for me and get them really nice looking. So your battery's stored up here in the front. Let me grab a screwdriver. It's the original battery tray. Now, if you guys have ever seen a Deltaburst, you know that this is not the original barrel. This is a piece of 3/4 PVC because the whole barrel was raised up a little more and this cage was not aligning with the barrel. So I just chopped that off, put a piece of PVC and it fits its own space pretty well. Added some ABS sheet coverings in the front so there wasn't a giant gap. And it looks really nice. The gold is a nice little accent. Since it's a laser gun, I wanted to have just a different barrel type. It worked out pretty well, and it doesn't have an orange tip, but I've considered this giant battery tray an orange tip, so I think we're good on that part. The battery goes in here. It fits my 1000 milliamp micro 3S battery. I forget the discharges and everything right now. I actually might get a smaller battery because it's a tight fit, but I sanded this out enough where it's pretty good. I just have to go like this a little bit and shake it, but it's not that big of a deal. So for now, actually, I'll just leave that off. And the only other things on the outside that are a little more, so to say, mechanical are, I had to run a bolt through here just like on the Strfye. There's no screw ports down here. On the original one, there wasn't even one. It was on these gray plates right here. These were separate pieces. That was your hand guard, so you would hold it like this. And I obviously cut those away so I could fit in the mag well. So I had to have a screw port so the bolt running through it cut down a little bit, makes it look a little more but it works very, very well, and it's not that hard to take on and off. And there's only, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 screws on this thing, not including the stock, which is one piece. So it's very easy to disassemble in maintenance, which I really like. Interfactorum is a pain in the butt to disassemble. It has about 40 screws in it, so that's the only problem with doing big integrations and not eliminating some screw ports. I took the liberty of eliminating as many screw ports as I could in this thing, because just in this main body on the original, there were about 45, and it was very annoying, so I took most of them out. They weren't needed, and they created extra friction, so I just took them out. So the paint job on this thing started out very clean. I had a nice, decent white base coat. I hate painting in white. You can never get it really truly consistent unless you have another base coat under it. This whole thing was white originally, so I just tried to do white. Wasn't turning out that good. And I started painting outside and bringing it inside. So towards the end of my coat, it started crackling and bumping a little bit. So I just decided, I was thinking about doing it anyway. I just decided to take it and make it look like it fell off a truck. So after the white, I added this gray Rust-Oleum, and then over top of that, I did silver Citadel dry brushing and made it look like metal. And that effect came out really nice, especially on the stock where I didn't even do coats or anything. I just did the weathering and all that stuff. This back part right here is my favorite part of the blaster. It looks really nice, in my opinion. A nice, dirty feel. Stock's the same way. The white is a little more dirty on the back since you're going to be shouldering it more. And it's a very heavy dry brushing, I understand, but I was just doing it to cover my bases because paint did not really want to work. The red stripe was really clean, but it looked really weird to have a clean red stripe on a blaster that looked like, it fell off a truck. That was my imagining for the paint job, so I added some more white on the inside to make it look like it's been scratching off and everything. And I think the red streak adds a very nice touch, especially since you have a red ammo counter and red LEDs inside. So the LEDs activate this blaster by pulling the trigger the whole way back like you're firing. And I had only put 4 LEDs in here. There's one in this main bulb that had LEDs before that spun, and I just said no. Let's make it a nice red bulb since it was already there. There are 2 on the inside of this. Actually, there are 3 on the inside of this. 1 up top here and 2 on each side of the motor. Not the motors, the cage on each side towards the back, so you can't really see them when you're looking in there, so it doesn't look as obvious. And I'll put a picture up, but it gives off some really nice ambient lighting. This whole thing glows up since it's it's like opaque almost. It gives off a really nice glow in the dark, and that's what I was going for. They gave me this nice clear piece, and I wanted to use it. And if you do look in there, you can actually see the wheels and the whole cage from the top of the blaster, and that's very unique in my opinion. That was one design feature I needed to keep. I wanted to keep the bolt action and everything on this, but with the Strfye's internals in there, it wasn't possible, but I wanted to keep that feature. So I'll show you some more pictures. There were ABS. I built this up with ABS sheet because it wasn't as high as I needed it to fit the motor covers and the cage in. So I built it up with ABS sheet, then sculpt, and then some more sheet on the back because I made a bad cut, and we're not going to talk about it. But overall, I think it looks very, very nice, and that extra little detail of the rev when you're shooting the blaster, of the lights flickering. That's what I wanted it to be, kind of like a laser going off. So you're aiming down the sights, and then you just see the pop, and you know you fired a dart, since the dart's going. So I don't do LEDs a lot, but on this one, I think since it was shooting lasers, it was actually necessary. Speaking of shooting, let's go do a shooting demo, and I'll show you some cool things about the magwell that I actually very much enjoy, and then we'll go back for a final recap. Alright guys, so we're just going to be doing a quick shooting demo of the Laserstryfe. I'm going to be sitting on my bed because I can. Cool thing about this is when they have the bump at the backs of the mags tilt, you'll see with the 18. So this is running a Nyx cage with Krakens, and I'm just going to be shooting 10 rounds, then I have an 18 loaded up, so let's go. And you'll check out the LEDs in action. There we go. I had a little bit of a jam there, but I think that's because the trigger, I did not lube it up at all. I need to lube that up. So we're going to load the 18 here. Look how professional this video is, by the way. Look at that mag tilt. Now, actually, the alignment, the jam might have been because of the mag alignment, but before this video, when I shot it, I didn't have any problems. So let's try this out. Oh no, I need something sharp for this. There we go, we're on 18. There's 18 darts in the clip. This is going to be the 18 dart clip with the ammo counter view. And that little jam might have been because the mags are actually tilted because of the bump on the back of Nerf mags. So let's do this angle. Sorry, this is a very weird way to film. I apologize. And there we go, that's all 18. Best part, drop it. And yeah, that is the shooting demo for the Laserstryfe. Overall, it's not reaching any super high tier numbers, but that's because it was made for HVZ. That's why I picked this cage. I wanted to use something very cool in my next End War, and I think this is what's going to be it. So let's go back for a final discussion and recap. So overall, coming back from the shooting demo, it shoots pretty well. The Nyx cage is an HVZ cage, and it shoots about 130, 135 with Krakens, I believe. If my chrono barrel would believe me, so it's shooting about 140, and it shoots 5 above, blah, blah, blah. Getting a chrono soon, it's still coming, which is annoying. So I'm going to be running this at End War, if it's field legal, which I know it is. I'm going to be running it at End War this year, so if you're going to End War, I think their location's changing, I'm not sure yet. Make sure to check this out. I might actually have a table there, so if you see me and you see my table, come over and check it out. You can pick it up and play with it a little bit. It's definitely one of my most unique integrations. I tried to make sure I didn't put a lot of Strfye into it. I put most Deltaburst and then shoved the Strfye inside it. Just like the Moto Strfye up there. I tried to keep as much Strfye out of that as possible, but with the curvature of the shell dipping down and the alignment, you see a little bit more Strfye. And it's not a bad thing. It looks very nice and it allows for a kit up top. But you can definitely tell there's something else in there. This, if you didn't know what the motor covers were, if the motor covers weren't even there, if I just kept it flat, you wouldn't be able to tell that there's a Strfye in here almost. And that's really cool to me. I wanted to keep it as stock-ish looking as possible, except for the paint, obviously. But I think I accomplished that, and I think it's a very clean integration. The paint does not look clean, and that's kind of the point. But the integration itself is pretty much flawless. It looks very, very good. Most of the bodywork is right here where my hands are, and it turned out very well. This is all sculpted by me everywhere up here, all the motor covers. And yeah, it looks really nice, and these little bits at the front are also sculpted to fit the new barrel. But overall, this is a very clean integration, but Intrafactorum's Hydro Dip, and it's just full auto spamminess makes it my favorite still. But this might be closer to my favorite Strfye build. Those two are probably about tied. Very different paint styles, very different styles in general, but they're very cool. They even have mostly the same trigger linkage system and the same mag release system. So very similar blasters, but I like shoving Strfyes into things that should not have Strfyes in them. And I'm going to do it about 2 more times, so I have 2 blasters lined up for it. And 2 cages. I build my blasters around cages, if you couldn't tell. So guys, that's going to be all for today, going over my Laserstryfe integration. If you like this blaster and like that I'm actually posting content, please like, comment, subscribe. It means the world to me. I have a few more videos posted up over the winter break from college, and I will be putting them out. I'm actually enjoying posting lately. I'm getting a lot of positive responses, and that's what keeps me going on here. So let me know what you think, and have a great day.